All right, everybody, we will get started here in just about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and we have a great session today with Anne-Marie Bain, and she is backstage right now getting ready. So make sure you get your pen and paper or whatever you're using to take notes ready, because this is going to be a power-packed session. So T-minus 2 minutes, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, it is the top of the hour, and now is the time to get started. Anne Marie, I think I threw you on mute and video earlier, but you should be able to uh, turn yourself back on there. And welcome. It is an absolute pleasure to to have Anne Marie Band joining us today. My name's Jonathan Mallard, and I lead the onboarding team for Benzinga Pro. I've been with Benzinga for a little over 4 years now, and some of you may have seen Anne Marie in some of our boot camps. She is an experienced trader. She has so much to offer us in terms of the macro, the fundamental, the technical analysis, pretty much everything that you would need to analyze a trading opportunity and to decide whether or not to take a trade and how to position your portfolio. So Anne Marie, thank you for being here today. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here. It really, really is. I still can't open the video. It says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it. Aha, there we go. All right.
Sorry about
Very
that.
good. Yeah, no problem. No problem. All right, we're all good. Thanks for taking care of this. And hi, everyone that is visiting. I wanted to first share with you a little bit about the road that I've been on. It's been a hard road. I started trading about 18, 19 years ago, and I really was a terrible trader. So beginning as a terrible trader, there's a lot of work to get done. And so when I share, here's how I look at the market, I really share things that I think are critical to that secret sauce, the stuff that you think people know that they keep on the sly, which I'm going to tell you that's absolutely true, because there are people in the market space that believe that if you share with others what you believe you're working through, which is an arbitrage, right? You buy at a certain place because you feel price is going higher for a specific reason, or you sell at a certain place because you think price is going lower for a specific reason. And so what that arbitrage does is really give us the edge if the suppositions that we've made about going into the chart are real and true. And some folks believe, hey, listen, if I tell folks what I'm really doing, then that destroys my edge. And that's true in some spaces where edges will expand and contract. And that might be a very advanced session way down the road. But at this point, nothing that you want to worry about. So really, one of the first things you want to think about when you're looking at a market space is, what are traders doing? And so as a trader in the very beginning of my journey, I was pretty awful, as I mentioned. And being awful means that I didn't quite know where/what I needed to do when I needed to do it. And I would look at streams, or I would look at ideas, and people would say, okay, this is long, this is short, I'm bullish here, I'm bearish here, but I still never got a grasp for it. And so I was really flailing in the wind for a very, very long time. So today we're going to look at SPY. And one of the things that I did today was sell an iron condor that expired today in the SPY. I sold 8 of them. And my thought was, hey, listen, if I could get 50% of what I sold it for, then I would have a good day. And so that is where I sit today versus where I was so many years ago, saying, I don't have any idea what the market's going to do. I don't know how it's going to do it, and I don't know when it's going to do it. So what I wanted to do is tell you that the market does 3 things all the time. And you're going to say, thanks, Captain Obvious. But It either goes up, it goes down, or it sits sideways. And so the big thing for us is, if I'm going to trade this, am I trading in a space where overall the market tells me it's relatively sideways, or it's moving up or down? So the very simple thing to do, and this is from our Benzinga Pro platform, the very simple thing to do is have an indicator, and this is a daily indicator, and I'm going to put a moving average up here. And this moving average is going to be a simple one. And we're just going to use, well, let's make it a different color so that it's not so hard to look at. Let's use something that's a little bit fast. Let's say it's a 7. Okay, so here we are. We have a 7 moving average. And what I like to do, if you can see, I use the open, the high, the low, and the close, all added together and divided by 4. So what does that actually give me? Well, that gives me a number that is an average of things, not a specific space. So the number one thing that I want to share with you, that as a trader, you have to understand that there aren't specific prices that people roll over on or expand from every single time. And that's because there's so many of us in the market that everybody's got their own idea, and some very big pockets are able to move the market for a little while, and that causes some kind of disruption. We also get a lot of disruption if price action explodes to the north, or if price action fails to the south very rapidly. People will be fearful or they will be greedy. And so the thing that I like to look at, and the thing that I talk about a lot, is when I stare at a moving average, I don't want to look at where it is right now, but I want to look at the range of what it might be doing over the last, say, 10 days. Okay? And what I can see from SPY is that it's moving sideways. You might say, why is that? Why you say sideways? It looks like it's moving down. That's true. It was moving down if you went here, but it was moving up if you went here. It was moving up if you went here, and moving down if you went there. So what it's telling you is, in this range, there's just a tremendous amount of noise. Now, one of the things that we can use to help us with how things are moving with noise is a VWAP, right? And so the VWAP, which, oops, didn't mean to put 3 of them on there. We like the VWAP because it helps us with figuring out where the price action is in terms of volume and weight. And you can see it's fairly jagged because it starts every day, and it tells us where we're moving. Whether the VWAP is moving up, it means that as people are buying, more people are buying. But you can look down here and you can see something else that says, well, people might be buying this up above my VWAP, but the volume overall for the last few days is going down. So that tells us this exactly. It tells us, hey, this is moving all the way up. That is moving down in terms of volume so far. This tells me, if I draw a line straight through here, I've got sideways motion on one side and sideways motion on the other side. So I'm naturally range bound. And when I'm range bound, it allows me to buy and sell optioning positions that will benefit me over the long haul. And one of those things that we talk about are selling a spread, selling a put spread or a call spread, or selling both in that case. But the topic today was, how do we prepare for upside in a volatile market? Well, the first thing you have to realize is that a volatile market does not have trend. It might have trend for a few days, but that will reverse. And this is what we are seeing here. Now, if we go back to October, we can see that the VWAP is up, the moving average is up. We can look at that and go, well, I don't really see any volatility there because every time I pull back, I bounce and I'm sitting well up above that 7. One very simple indicator that you can use, and we talked about this really on our great webinar over the weekend. Whoopsie. If we take a look at the momentum, I like momentum to be, again, I prefer colors that I can see very well on my chart. And in terms of the input, I would rather it be something like a 12. And again, I'm going to go to what is my average telling me? A lot of us think that we need to go to these very tight time cycles or momentum cycles or moving average cycles to tell us whether we go long or short. And that's really a very simplistic way to look at the market, and it's usually ineffective. And so what we want to see in terms of preparing for spaces that we want to go, we want to look at, all right, if I was looking at a trade right around here, and I have moving averages down until 3 days ago when they started popping up, and I have momentum down until 3 days ago when it started moving a little bit sideways, it's still at negative 20. You want to have your momentum above 0. That's going to be a great place to look for something that has got a trend event. And at the same time, you want your moving average to be up and you want your VWAP to be up. There are only a few spaces that this chart looks like that, and it only goes for maybe 3 or 4 days, right? This upshot here starts very deeply. By the time it gets to this edge, where we have an upward sloping momentum event, by the time this gets above 0, everything's flattened out again. And so the goal for preparing for getting on the right side of a trade is to look at your chart and go, is everything agreeing? And what can I do with that? And so what I'd like to do is sort of go through the analysis of a group of trades and say, all right, what can we do right here, right now? Okay, so here we have SPY. Let's take a look. Let's estimate that you say, you know what? I want to be an intraday trader. I want to trade on a tight time frame, and I want to trade in the direction of motion, in the direction of overall trend. So this is the perfect case, right? We come in this morning and there's a terrible gap down in the overnight, right? It begins at 4 a.m. when Europe opens up and begins to trade. But what we notice is that as soon as it goes up just a little bit, it stops heading down. And so one of the things that you really want to look at when you're trading is, has my chart started telling me that there is a group of buyers sitting around, or there's a group of sellers sitting around? All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this, and we see buyers, but we notice momentum is flat. We also notice the moving averages are down, and we also notice the VWAP is coming down into the space. By the time 9:30 opens up, the price action breaks out to the current area that it's battling, right? Into that current zone. And as it's sitting in that zone, it tells us, hey, wait a second, that is old support, that is old resistance. But if I pull back and my resistance from overnight becomes new support, Then I have myself a trade where I can buy and I'm sitting above my moving average. My VWAP has started turning to the upside and my momentum is also moving up with me. Notice, what does it do? It fills the gap, which is a very common thing. Traders do this all the time. And as soon as it fills the gap, it leaves. So here's what you have to go in knowing. You have to go in knowing, hey, am I holding a bottom? If I am, what needs to happen for me to go long? And the things that need to go long is you want to lift in your momentum. You want to start trading above your simple moving average. I have a 7. You could use a 6, give yourself a little extra bit, but you're still using open, high, low, close divided by 4. Okay? So it smoothens out the chart. And then once you see that happen and it breaks out, your thought must be the following. If I have been moving downward like this and I gap down and I try to break out, I am going to have trapped sellers that will come in and say, you know what? I'm going to try and sell that VWAP. I'm going to do it right now. And so they try and sell the VWAP. And this is what happens here. You'll notice I'm going to expand the chart just a wee bit more so that you can see they come right into that VWAP and they go, I'm going to sell it. But this old resistance becomes support. That means you've fulfilled every criteria. You're above the momentum indicator. You're above the you're above the 7, and your VWAP has started flattening out and will move, right? And so you can take the trade right here into resistance. And that is the measure of how to move in the market space. Hang on, I have to tell folks to close a little position here. This is the short iron condor that we put together. For 50%. So we only took 8 of those and we sold it for 181. We bought it back for 90 cents. And so we made about $640 between 10 o'clock and 1:18. So that is a great way to trade intraday if you've got a background in options. And so, or you know how to follow the options space from understanding here's where you buy and here's where you sell if somebody's giving you direction. Okay, so what you need to see in this market is that we can only move in one direction for a short period of time or another. You might say, but Anne Marie, do you remember Friday? Do you remember how Friday looked? Absolutely. Take a look.
And I think Anne Marie's just fixing her microphone there. And I'll just start talking while she figures that out. And feel free to keep testing Anne Marie until that gets fixed there. But that's awesome. And so just to recap here, all of this is inside of Benzinga Pro. So this charting that Anne Marie, there we go. Anyways, you can use the momentum, those moving averages, the VWAP. That's all available inside of Benzinga Pro in the charting on the details tool. And this is great because we're talking about additional data points. What are the reliable data points that can tell us the behavior of what's going on in the market? And that's really what the charts are telling us. It's telling us a story of the buyers and the sellers. So I think I can hear you now, Anne Marie. Are you back on? Okay, she's still figuring it out there. But you can see here how it doesn't have to be a huge mystery. These are not crazy indicators, but just trying to simplify everything. And when you're working with a group, when you have someone, multiple people with lots of experience, the way Anne Marie does, it just can demystify the market. So that's what we're trying to do here.
Thank you very much for just coming in and saving the day. Oh my gosh, thank you. My headset is persnickety, so I've got one headset in this ear just in case something goes awry. And I have the regular headset that should do okay for our next little bit. All right, so here we are coming into this particular formation, and just look at how simple our chart is. We've got something that tells us, hey, I've got momentum. I'm always going to the last place that everybody else either bought or sold. And you'll notice if I draw a line here, you can see that this is also a region of old resistance and new support. Now, you see these right here? Those are those wiki edges that may or may not hold over a specific time, but they should hold. So your thought is, hey, I'm going to watch for this to hold, and then I'm going to let my momentum and my trend confirm that that's what I'm doing. Then I'm going to give it a bounce. Okay, so now that we have that, I was talking about, hey, Anne-Marie, what about when things move up and down? You just said that things move up only for a short while and then they change direction. Yes, that's absolutely true. Some days things look very nice. And so on Friday, this was our 9:30 candle. It faded. Look at where it faded to. Old resistance. That's the overnight for this edge and the close of the day. It came in and held the zone and then bounced. So look at what you're looking at. This is a resistance edge. It pops up, it pulls back, and then it holds this zone. At the point that it holds this area, you can look down here and go, that's up, this is up, my moving average is up, I'm going to buy this candle. Where are you going to take it? You're going to take it to the last area of resistance that you can see. You might go, but Anne-Marie, there's like $3 more left. Absolutely. When it gets to that point, then you can say, here I am. I'm going to go to half size. And from that half size, I'm going to be able to see if I'm going to head higher or if I'm going to stall out. Because it was Friday, you want to close your positions at the end of the day if you're an intraday trader. You don't want to hold on the swing because you think X, Y, or Z is going to happen. The market is too messy for that right now. Why? Well, let's take a look at how many times it's either gapped up or gapped down. This one, it gapped up a little bit, filled. This gapped down and then filled. This one faded, gapped down, and then filled and moved up. So you have no idea whether you can stomach the gap down or not. We really don't. So the best thing to do is say, hey, I'm looking at this, and when these guys are up and my momentum has an upward slope, I'm in. Things are absolutely great from that perspective. So let's take a couple of securities to have a peek. First, we'll look at some more intraday motion, and then we will look at some swing stuff. Jonathan, do you happen to have any that you would like to see or that folks would like to see maybe?
It looks like Trent from the YouTube chat was talking about ON. And then feel free, anyone who wants to see additional tickers, go ahead, throw those into the chat for us to take a look.
Okay, so instead of intraday for this one, it looks a little bit messy, so I'm going to go all the way back. This is an IPO. Its IPO looks like September 13th, 2021. And it's done what a lot of IPOs do. Actually, I think that statistic is now 80% of all IPOs lose their opening tick within the first 6 months of their IPO. And so let's get ourselves, do we want, maybe we have Fibonacci here. Do we have Fibonacci there? No. Wow, I just
Oh, there
realized
is.
that this does this. Where is the Fibonacci?
It might be under the pitchfork.
All right, great. Very nice. Okay, so let's do a retracement. All right, and so we're going to go from the bottom to the top. We're going to go all the way across. Actually, let's go from the top to the bottom. Let's go here. And so we can see the measure of the retrace. A little bit better. This is the low, this is the high. And so now we are seeing that this chart has lost its low and trying to bottom. Now, you might say to yourself, hey, this looks like it might be in a bottom picking formation. It could be. So what does a bottom picking formation look like? From a weekly, we're going to go to the daily. And we're going to see that this is trying to double bottom. What's the problem here? If you or I look at knowing what we know about the indicators that we know, and again, to be completely transparent, this is the moving average 7. If you like, you can see what a 6 looks like in terms of changing it. Not too much, but it looks pretty good. So maybe you leave it at 6. The VWAP tells you what people are doing intraday a lot, and they are bouncing around this zone. The broad market is really telling us this is what's going on. And so from this sideways perspective, what do we notice? We notice momentum is still going down. We notice that our 6 is still going down. And we notice this sideways formation. And the commentary is usually when price breaks by time, meaning it doesn't do anything but sit in a patch through a specific period of time, it will resume its downward formation. Right now, you can see not a lot of people are interested. It's following a volume flow that's quite a bit lower. So here is my suggestion. If I were looking at this, trying to pick a bottom here, I would say, tell me when this chart gets to this 25 area, right? So I want to see a line. I'll put an alert right around this zone. Tell me when it gets up over 35. At that point, what I want to look at is my momentum up? Is my moving average up? Is my VWAP up? And where's the first place that traders are going to run into trouble? They're going to run into trouble at 27. No doubt about it. They tried here, held it, broke down. Tried here, held it, broke down. Tried here, held it for 1 day, and then broke sharply to the base. Okay, you could look at this and go, hey, maybe that's a head and shoulders pattern, right? From this edge, 26.69 all the way to 30.70, that's $4 or so. So if I do this and I say $4, it should go to 22. It absolutely did. It went right down there. This is the measured move event. And so now it's trying to do it again. I say, put an alert at the 25, 26 area, maybe 25 area, and then look at it and wait until you close a candle above your 6 moving average. You have momentum. You get it at the next space and you hold on to it until it gets into resistance. So to me, it looks like you've got a shot of going from 25 maybe to 27, 28. But until this chart clears this region around 30, there's nothing that says it's going to go up and out. That's just not how it would work. So let's say you're looking at this going, you know, I saw something that says this might be a good trade intraday. Well, here's the thing. If we're taking a look at something like this intraday, and let's carry it up here. Whoopsie. I don't want to do that. Want my crosshair. All right, let's say we're carrying it and we're looking at the price motion. What do you want to see when you trade a chart? Well, you want to see slope. That's the best thing that you want to see. You want to see slope either down. Here, this is down. I'm underneath my 6. I'm underneath the VWAP. That means every bounce should sell into my support edge. This, it's very flat. You could go, well, I'm above my VWAP and I do have positive momentum. Yes, that is true, but it's stalled out here already. Okay, it's absolutely stalled out here already. So your thought should be, I'm not going to trade this intraday. And if I want to trade something that's nice, it needs to have slope. So what might have had slope today? How about, let's see what Riot is doing today. Well, a little bit of nothing, but it did open the morning with some solid slope. Notice this is a 30-minute open. Write this down, folks. Wherever a chart opens becomes the most important line in the sand for intraday buyers. And if you stay above your open and you have a momentum that's up and your moving averages are up and you're above your VWAP, you can buy this until you stop heading higher. A lot of times people go, I don't have any idea when to get out. This is when you start getting out. You go, wait, am I going higher? If that answer is no, what does that mean? It means supply is sitting above there, or sellers that are saying, you know what, I understand you buyers want to go up here, but you can keep buying all you want. We'll take that and we'll sell it back down. All right, so I'll buy everything that you're giving me, but it's not going to be enough for you to move over this supply event. And you'll notice it starts to roll back down with that negative momentum queuing up right at this motion. So you might say, Anne-Marie, that 30-minute is so slow. Can I do it on a 5-minute and still use the same technicals? Here's the magnificent thing. That answer is yes. So how would you do it? Well, here it is, 9:30. What is the slope of this line? It's the slope of the gray line and the overall slope of the momentum line. Not exactly what the momentum line is doing per se, whether it's got peaks and valleys and whatever. Ooh, it's kind of going down. No. You're going to look across a swath of it and you're going to go, if I had to tell somebody what this whole momentum line is doing, what would I say right here? And the answer would be, it's moving up. Don't look at all the wiggles. Look at the general trend of motion. That's going to help you way more than anything else. Okay. So this morning you look in, there is the opening tick. Notice they bounce up and then they pull back and they test this opening tick and then hold above it. If you come into the opening tick and your moving average is up, and your VWAP has positive slope. This is positive to flat. So you could say hazy check mark yes for that one. And your momentum is moving up. It'll tell you, listen, you can buy here, and your stop will be just under that opening tick. And as long as you make higher highs, you're going to stay in the trade. As long as you hold the last region of old resistance, you'll be able to stay in the trade. And so notice what happens here. It pulls back, it loses the 6 and then recovers, but it doesn't head higher. That's the number one way to say, you know what? I'm getting out of this trade. I might be able to go back, but right now, that's all there is. That's all I'm going to do. Okay, let's take a look at another one. You might say, hey, can I take a short here? Remember, do you see how momentum is moving down here? But do you see how the moving average is flat and the VWAP is still cresting up? It is telling you that if you decide you're going to short a breakdown, it's going to be wrong until something else happens. And that is going to be, have I tested my VWAP, tried to recover it, and lost it? This is very messy price formation, super messy, as a matter of fact. And so what we have to do is just look at the price action and say to ourselves, you know, I am not going to get in here anymore because it just looks very, very messy. Get into a space where you are always looking at prices and saying, does this trade look easy? If the answer is yes, set it up and take it. If the answer is, I don't know, move on. I'm not kidding you. It's as easy as that. You can go through any name. Wow, let's think of another one. Let's look at a bank, see what they're doing. Everybody's fairly messy today. Early part of the day, very nice action. Midday, this is Europe closing, and now we're all here sitting around going, wow, do we really want to be long into the overnight with all of the peril that seems to be around? And I think that answer would be no. So let's use the Benzinga platform event here, and let's take a look at what the feed has for us that says, okay, let's take a look at Racket. Okay, now this is on the stream inside of your Benzinga feed on the Pro platform. Notice the following. It's got trend, and momentum is a little bit flat. But here's what you can take away. Is momentum above 0? And this is something that's super easy to evaluate. If it's above 0, then you can say to yourself, all right, you can say to yourself, all right, I see what I'm looking at, and I'm above 0. If I am fading, remember, you want to be above your moving average and above your VWAP, right? Those are pretty big things. The opening tick, remember what I said about the opening tick being the most important number of the intraday trader's environment, right? It sits well above here. That would be your stop zone at this particular juncture. It comes in and it goes sideways here. It's not making any higher highs. Your moving average is flat. So what are you going to do? You're going to wait. This is a 5-minute chart. If the chart doesn't show you anything interesting in 5 minutes of motion, don't take it. But notice what happens over here, right? It breaks out, and you might be thinking, wow, there it goes. But remember what a chart does when it's under damp momentum and it's trying to change position. It's going to go into the old highs, and you're going to find sellers, right? If this number is not steep, if it is not moving sharply upward, it's going to come back and test your old areas. But right about here, the price action holds above this zone, tests this area again, and when it pulls back, look at what's happened all morning long. Low, higher low, higher low. We call this a wedge, right? It's a wedge that normally breaks to the north. So you have two choices. You can wait until it tests this area as support, or you can wait until it comes down into this zone and gets above the region where you can say, you know, it might not give me a lot of run, but if I hang on, and as long as momentum does not slip south and continues to trend, I'm going to be in good shape. And notice what it does. It is continuing to trend. This is the 12. If you don't like this 12 and you decide you want it to be 14, whatever it is that you want, the bigger this number is, the slower this momentum indicator is going to go for you. And the smaller the number is, the more noisy it's going to be. And your goal, remember, is to say, what is the overall chart doing? Am I above zero and climbing? Am I below zero and falling? Above zero and climbing, this is the area that you go, you know what? I'm going long. So when you're in your Benzinga Pro platform and you're looking at something and somebody says, okay, somebody just said EPAM, right? And they said, I've had a good day shorting EPAM. Well, it looks like that trade is going to be over from here because look at how beautiful this is. Remember, your goal is very straightforward. It is, one, am I above zero or below zero on my momentum? Let me take care of this business here. All right. And you can see right out of the gate, you're under the VWAP and you're under the opening range after the first 5 minutes, and your momentum is negative. So you can look at this and go, wow, okay, this is a short. And it will take you, you might go, wow, it looks like it's flat. It's under zero and you're under both of your moving averages, and both of those moving averages are downward. That's all you need to know. It'll take you all the way down. The first time you get an area where you stop heading lower, you have to take some profit. Because once momentum shifts and you begin to trade above that moving average, you're going to move into resistance and your profit is going to slip away. Here's the beautiful thing here. Staying under that VWAP tells you, you know what? I don't need to get out of this trade. I'm just going to move my stop all the way down to the VWAP. And then I'm going to see if it can come back and give me the same low or a lower low. What could easily happen here is the chart turn around and fall one more time because, whoopsie, because it's such an expensive stock. It could go easily to the south, right? So that is the key point for looking at things. You always want to say to yourself, is everything telling me the same story? You're under the VWAP, it's going down, your moving average here is sideways, and your momentum is up. None of these things are saying the same thing. That means you sit on your hands. You don't do anything until you learn more about mechanical flow. Here, this starts rolling over. You get back under zero, you're underneath your 7 or your 6, you're underneath the VWAP, momentum is down, you get short. That's going to be your first target. You take half your profit, you let it go. It started holding the 200 area. That's the psychological region. You know what? You put your stop right up here at 223. If it happens to move that far up, then you get out. But there's been a beautiful move here. It's just been absolutely trounced. It might stop because this has moved. Wow. It opened at 350 and it's now 205. It might be going further, but certainly it's a place to take some profit. All right, Jonathan, anything else you want to add or any other questions?
Well, I mean, this is great because you showed a sideways situation where you were selling the short-term iron condor. You showed how to recognize the bullish trend, and you recognize a bearish trend here. If we had time, if we do have time for a couple other tickers,
sure, absolutely.
Then in the chat, I did see Tesla and ZOM and SPY, and then I know that your target was about an hour for today's presentation, but before we wrap up your portion today, I would love to see where you plan on posting some ideas in the ideas module if you feel comfortable doing
Yes,
that.
absolutely. What
But
I
we can
did
wrap up.
was,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, what I did was ask the developer group over, I don't even remember what day we talked, some few days ago. I said, hey, listen, I do a lot of neutral plays, like for a short iron condor, I'm taking both a short call spread and a short put spread, taking advantage of the fact that a weekly option will expire today. And because I am so good at price formations, I can tell where price is going to get trapped, and weekly options are the best to sell because they lose their premium so very quickly, especially when they're expiring. So what I want to do is sort of get something that goes a little bit delta neutral. So I've asked the guys on the idea tab to say bearish, bullish, neutral, so that we can have neutral strategies. But that's exactly where I would put them. If you think it would be a good idea to say, hey, listen, I'm bullish in terms of this short put spread, but I'm bearish in terms of this short call spread for the moment, that's really where I would put that up so people could see what to do from that perspective and where their stops. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need the neutral option.
Yeah.
That was an oversight. I didn't see that wasn't available, but yeah, we'll definitely get that in there. It's a no-brainer because what's awesome about trading is that you can make money when the market goes up, when it goes down, when it stays
Does
flat.
nothing.
As
Exactly.
And so that's why it's so great listening to you, just knowing how these different ways to structure trades, regardless of what the market is doing.
Absolutely. And the big thing to always think about is, well, what's my risk? That's really the biggest thing. How can I How can I manage the risk? Okay, so let's take a look at ZOM. That's Zomedica. And it is, again, there are a lot of these that look like you could say, wow, wouldn't this be nice if it would hold this zone, right? And so, all right, technically speaking, what's happening here? We have momentum moving up, but it's barely above zero, right? It's 0.04. What it has been doing is flattening out a little bit. And you can see from the weekly perspective, it actually is now, it's above its moving average, and it's really trying to fight the VWAP. So the question is the following. If I buy this, what is my risk? And where would the ideal entry point be? Okay, so you always want to look for, all right, where support become resistance? Where does resistance become support? And so we're looking at two areas here. This is support. It became resistance, fell down to a new area of support, bouncing back up. So if I were to close one eye and sort of look at this in a regular pattern, I could maybe say, hey, wait a second, shoulder, head, maybe it's forming another shoulder, and maybe it comes in at 35. Now, we have two things that could happen. One, the market says, you might think 35. There's no way. This isn't, I'm not going 35.
Gotta love headsets.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So great. And so when we take a look at what's going on here, we could see that the traders had a big outside day and then an inside day, and now it's gapped up. So if you look at the price action that says, all right, I'm above my moving average, I've got a little bit of momentum, this is moving up, you could buy it at this 40, but literally you've got, I'd say, a 25 to 30% stop loss threshold, and that's big. So especially if you're saying, hey, I want to buy, however many thousand shares. If you decide you want to come in with a big position because the price is so small, because you want to make money to see it go into 50, that's really going to be the first place it's going to go, because it fell like a stone from there. So it's not going to come up there and just rocket right through. Charts don't do that. So you can look at this and say, all right, I could maybe enter a half-size position here. If it fades to 32, I'll make sure that my momentum is up, that my VWAP still looks positive to the upside, and then I would say, all right, then I'm going to go to full size with the stop being about 29 cents. That's what I would do there. So from that perspective, if then I go all the way to the weekly chart, from the weekly to the 30-minute chart, I can see that really all I'm trying to do is base here. I'm holding higher lows, but I cannot get above. And this tells me if I can't get above and my momentum is right at zero, I'm going to move sideways. And if I move sideways because my VWAP is sideways, because my moving average is sideways, because my momentum is sideways, the best bet is going to be trying to position yourself somewhere lower so that you minimize that risk threshold that could easily be here to bang you. Because certainly if you sit in this space full size up at 40 and we get some terrible news, it's going to smash you in the head come the next day, because it's just going to, people are going to liquidate just because they're afraid. So that's what I would say about ZOM. I heard SPY, but I forgot the other one. What was that other one? We started
Tesla.
with Tesla. Oh,
Going
right,
from penny stock to heavy hitter.
Well, you know what? Tesla, everybody is, wait, what? I was just about to say, I think it is not 400. Okay, so here we are with Tesla. A lot of people have Tesla short right now. And people that short Tesla usually get into a pickle. Just a matter of time. But Tesla has not shown the strength. Take a look, weekly chart. If you're trying to take away big picture events from this time with me, you have to say, wait a second, what does she do every single time? Because doing well in the market is about managing your process and making sure that you approach every time doing the same thing. And so what do? I go to the weekly, I go to the daily, and I say, am I battling resistance or support? Right now, we're battling resistance. This is resistance. This was support. It fell very sharply last week. Now it's trying to recover. Okay. Now, you might say, well, wait a second, this might be ideal. Well, from a weekly perspective, it's telling you every time this bounces, you're going to see some sellers. That's what it's telling you. Why is it telling you that? Because this is negative, because your VWAP has negative slope, and because your momentum had negative slope but is now just flat. And because two of the three are saying the same thing, you're going to know, hey, listen, it might run up $70. If you're intraday trading it, you might have a good shot. But if you're trying to trade it on the swing, still a very bad time to go long, because the chart has not confirmed that it is moving to the upside. Look at the location of momentum. It is currently negative 90, right? So if it's negative 90 and my moving average is down and my VWAP is down, but it just took a spike to the upside, guess what's going to happen here? You're going to run into sellers. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to run into sellers. So if you're running into sellers and you go, well, maybe what I want to do is take a short here just for a bit, what might that look like? We look at a 30-minute chart. Oh my goodness, this is like it was written for us here. Okay, so the first thing it has to do is stop heading higher. Then it has to break support. It's not done that yet. So right now, everybody that's come into 850 is still buying it. Notice the spike. They're still buying it. Momentum is moving down, and slope of the volume size is also moving down. That means they're going to chatter. As long as your VWAP stays here, your momentum is all the way up at 40. It could turn around and rise at any time. And if you look at that, you can go, you know what? Pullbacks or buy zones. If you break down and the slope of momentum goes negative, and you move under this moving average and under your VWAP, you're going to be in good shape for a short. Right now, it's not showing it on the 30-minute chart. And if you go to the 5, you're going to see a cross current, because this is flat, but it's still making higher lows over this patch. So what it's telling you is it's very likely to test the VWAP again. As soon as it starts bouncing off the VWAP, that's going to be the buy, but you can only buy it for the $8, $10 here, because it's also making lower highs And that's going to tell you, wait a second, I might start trading underneath my 6 simple moving average. And as soon as that starts getting slope and my momentum joins me, I'm going to have myself a short, right? So if you're thinking about a short, you could say, hey, I'm going to short it right here. Well, everybody's been buying here, right? If you go, I want to take it long here, well, everybody's been selling 5 points above, 4 points above. So my thought would be, well, if everybody's selling 4 points above, and my momentum is only 2 when it was 10 just 2 5-minute candlesticks ago, and I shorted at my 866, I know I've only got a $3 stop on an $860 stock that will allow me to come in to go to 855, right? But again, all this chart is telling you, if everything doesn't agree, you know you're going to move from one edge to the other. And then to do well, you're going to have to get out. I would not short it right on this edge because everything bounced here. I would try to short it on the edge that is closer to 868, 867, and then take it down. Sometimes things leave me in the dust. Most times they don't. But when they do leave me in the dust, they will bounce back up and give me a shot to move over. Again, the goal is, can I trade in sequence for a long period of time so my expected outcome gives me a positive result? I'm not here to play a lottery ticket. This is my work. And so in my work, I'm about executing every day. When I put myself in the dangerous space that is the market, I want to make sure that I'll leave with all my fingers and toes. All right, last thing we'll look at, yeah. The last
That's
thing
memorable.
we'll peek at, yeah. Last thing we'll peek at is SPY. And we can see that SPY is coming into the space. We also did an iron condor on the Qs, which expired. We just hit our 50% profit margin here. We sold it for $2.30. We bought it back for $1.15, and we sold 8 of them. So that was about $900 right there. So that's great. Those are the sorts of things you will see in the trade ideas tab. And I'll start putting some notes there in terms of saying, all right, this might be what you would want to do from this perspective if you only wanted to take the short or you only wanted to take the long and that sort of thing. So that being said, what this is doing is, take a look. This is sideways. This is going in both directions. Momentum is going up. It tells you exactly what price is going to do. It's going to go down and then it's going to bounce. They tell you exactly what's going to happen. What we have a tendency to do is go, yes, but what happens next? We can't divine the market. We have to estimate based on the past to give us information about the near future that will help us. All right. Thanks so much, Jonathan. I really appreciate it greatly.
Thank you. This was fantastic, Anne Marie. I
appreciate that.
Thank you for doing this for all of our viewers here, and stick around because I mean, I'm gonna show you where to find all of this on Benzinga Pro. And you can start a free trial today at pro.benzinga.com, or we do have the I'll tell you more about the sale, but you can find these ideas within the ideas tool on Benzinga Pro. There's a lot more on there, and we're really, really excited to have Anne Marie as one of our contributors on that tool. So Anne Marie, thank you again. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and we look forward to learning and growing more with you.
Thanks very much. It was great to be here. Good luck, everybody. Stay frosty.
All right, take care. And
Bye-bye.
I'll just go ahead and share my screen here, so we can take a look at Benzinga Pro. Looking at Google Chrome with Benzinga Pro. All right, there we go. So right now it's sharing there. That's more like it. And so as I'm just bringing this over to my other monitor here, and we should be good to go. So we learned a lot today. You know, some of the takeaways that I got from Anne Marie's presentation were, are you fighting support or resistance? You know, just looking at the overall trend, and we talked about some basic indicators that you can use, like moving averages, momentum, VWAP, and everything that we did today was on Benzinga Pro. So you can see that right here, we're looking at Zomedica, and I can switch over to the chart. And right here on the chart, I could look at the 5-minute, the day, the weekly, whatever we want to analyze, and add those same indicators that Anne Marie was using. So I could just add in the VWAP here, moving averages, etc. And then you can edit them just like Anne Marie was. Now, what is this ideas widget? Well, you can open up a new workspace here within Benzinga Pro and click on ideas here at the top, or there's this navigation bar over here on the left-hand side. And this is our brand new ideas tab where you can see you have some other analysts putting ideas in here with specific price targets and the reasoning behind those price targets. And like we were saying before, right now it's mostly bullish and bearish, but we're also going to add neutral there, because when you're using things like iron condors, that's just one of a variety of neutral positions that you can take and make money regardless of what the market is doing. So definitely check out this ideas tab. That's where Anne Marie is going to be posting her ideas. And pretty soon you'll also be able to interact with her and message her on the chat over here on the left-hand side as well. Now, I did post, let's see, I'm just bringing YouTube over here onto a different screen. I did post the link for today's sale. What we do have going on is we have 20 laptops available for the first 20 people that take advantage of this sale. So the link is in there for $997 for the whole year. That'll save you over $400. And you have access to all of these tools on Benzinga Pro and the ideas that Anne Marie is posting in there. And we can talk more about the Squawk, the scanners, the research calendar, so on and so forth. All of that is included for the $997. That's only good through midnight tonight. And my contact info is there in the chat as well. So feel free to go ahead and ask me any questions that you want to within the chat. I'm going to just go ahead and share a few more things here on the platform. But right now it looks like there are 18 of those laptops left. So definitely go ahead and make sure that you follow that link before those are gone. Oh, one more thing, I can share the checkout page just to show you what that looks like. So when you click on the link that's in the chat, it should look like this. And you can see here that it already has the coupon code applied. So as long as that coupon code is applied, you'll know that you're still eligible to get one of those 20 laptops. And then you can see that as you scroll down, that's the $997 price point instead of $1,404. So you save $400 and you get the laptop, and then you just throw in your name, email, you create a password for your account, and then you can pay with credit card or PayPal on our site. Of course, if you have any questions, you can reach me directly at my email. It's jonathan@benzinga.com or at 313-488-0294. All right, let's get back into the platform here because I really want to show you some more things that you can do with Benzinga Pro and how you can use this to really give you an edge in trading on a daily basis. Most of what we talked about today was based on technical analysis, looking at what the charts are telling us. What is the story that the charts are telling us about where the buyers and the sellers and the computers are in the market? And so within here, of course, I showed you the ideas area already. And then we do have chat rooms here within Benzinga Pro. Awesome. Well, welcome, Prakveen. Glad to have you join us. Welcome to the Benzinga family. And then I also see Robert in here and Sharon. Welcome, Sharon, as well. Glad to have the three of you as a part of the program. So yeah, you can see that there's these different chat rooms, crypto, day trading, options, and then I have a few extra ones because I'm a staff member. And then there's also the strat community, which is another type of technical analysis. So what else is available in here? Well, there's some other tools available to show you trading opportunities. And one of those would be the news feed. So, you know, some people like to scalp off the news. Some people try to ignore the news, but either way, it can help to understand why a stock is moving, even if you're not going to trade it within the first 30 seconds or 1 minute. And you can absolutely know why a stock is moving with our news feed. And it has a bunch of great ways to filter that information. What I want to point out here is that this is real-time news with a very fast human news desk. And so the latency on these items is usually going to be a few seconds to a few minutes after that information is first released on a press release or SEC filing or something like that. Then you can add other direct sources, original sources on the sources filter button. So I could add in those press releases. That way, every single item that is released by a publicly traded company through a press release firm is going to show up on my feed. Or you've got SEC filings, other partner links, different languages of Benzinga Wire, and then signals for automated signals. So I'll just click done here. And now I have those press releases in here as well. Then there's some other filters. So you've got categories. So if you only want market moving exclusives, that's where it's from the Benzinga breaking news team and it's not even available on a press release yet. You could check that box, then click done. And that's probably the most valuable type of news on Benzinga Pro, news items that are going to move the market that are not available anywhere else because we're releasing that information before the press release hits the wire. Or I could go to biotech, healthcare. I could look at analyst initiations and upgrades. I could go down to, see, under news, we've got rumors, FDA, asset sales, buybacks, and contracts. These are just a few of my favorites that I like to follow. I click done, and now I have a very focused newsfeed on catalysts that I know are most likely to impact the market. So that's one, you know, the newsfeed is one of our most popular tools. It's how we got started with our software, and then we've just built it up after that. And then you also have the screener here. So you could say, oh, I only want news on stocks from $2 to $50. Or I only want low float stocks, or I only want stocks with a certain short interest or relative volume. You can do all of that on the advanced news feed. And then lastly, you could also say, I only want news on a certain watch list. Maybe I'm not following the entire market. I want to stay razor focused on a certain list of stocks. And you can see I built a bunch of different watch lists within my watch list tool. I just check one of those boxes, and then I'll only receive news on those companies. So that's how the news feed works. It's a great tool to figure out why a stock is moving And as you can see here, let's see, this is just what, let's see, this one came out at 5 a.m. Yeah, this was one of our big movers from this morning, Mullen Automotive. So obviously a huge mover today. And if I scroll down here, I can see that this was a press release that came out at 5 a.m. I'm going to switch over to the news tab here. This was a press release that came out at 5 a.m. It looks like they had a solid state polymer battery pack development. That was the original press release. I'm going to see if that had any fancy tags associated with it. No, just general news and press release. But then at 5:08, we had a summary with this nice little sentiment indicator. So if you were up and you were trading at 5 a.m., you would have seen this come across your feed with that sentiment indicator. And I'll go down here, and this is tagged with penny stocks and tech. So these are the types of catalysts. And let's say even if you didn't see that right away, you could have also found this on our movers tool or our scanner so that you would know that that was a trading opportunity for today. Because if we just switch over to the 5-minute chart, we can see obviously that it was gapping this morning. You could have mapped out some of those levels to see where the support and resistance areas were. Say, okay, well, what do you know? It's probably going to test those pre-market lows and highs again. And that's exactly what it did. It went up, it came down, retested that 95-cent level, and then it was off to the races to where it is now. So this is another way that you can go straight to the source of that volatility and figure out why a stock is moving inside of Benzinga Pro. All right, I'm going back to the YouTube chat here just to check in on everyone. Let's see here. There we go. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Yeah, well, glad you're here, Melanie. Glad to have you on YouTube. What's up, Kyle? Yeah, let's go. And then it looks like we still have people in the Zoom chat as well. So feel free to ask me questions. I'm going to keep going through this platform just to give you a better feel of everything that is available with the platform. And just as a reminder, that link is good through midnight tonight. You'll save $400 off of the whole year of Benzinga Pro, access to Anne-Marie's ideas within the ideas module, as well as all of these other tools. And you get a free laptop. It looks like we have about 13 of those left now. So we might not last till midnight. So make sure that you take advantage of that while it's still available. All right, so I showed you the advanced newsfeed. I showed you the details tool. That's where you can do all your research, calendar, news, financials, peer companies, if you want to check out some similar companies that might fit with a thesis, insider trades, and key data points. Now, let's talk about our scanner. So I talk with a lot of people that are scalpers, you're looking for some momentum, or you have a watch list of stocks and you want to know if those stocks are spiking right now. And the scanner is a great solution for that. So we can see that here I opened up the scanner and the default is just to show me which stocks are spiking the most in the past 5 minutes. So that can come in handy. Now, there's also a preset here. So I can click on presets and I can just look at 5-minute movers. So that's going to show me companies that are over 2 billion in market cap and are moving more than 2% in the past 5 minutes. So it looks like nothing is right now, but I could change that. And I could say maybe, let's see if anything shows up for 1%. All right, there we go. So EXAI, I can say, okay, look, that is moving up in the past 5 minutes. But then we can click on some of these other filters and we could say, you know what, maybe instead of the past 5 minutes, I'm going to get really specific here and say 1 minute. So in the past 60 seconds, I only want to see companies that are moving 0.3% in the past 60 seconds. And I can click on this plus button here to add that to my table, and maybe I'll sort by the percentage move in the past 60 seconds. Another one of my favorites is relative volume. I can see the ratio of the volume of shares traded in the past 5 minutes compared to the average for that same 5-minute period over the past 10 trading sessions. So I could say 1.25. So I know it's got at least 25% greater volume than usual. And now I have a different type of list that I can click through here. And this is interesting because you can see air transport services, it gapped up earlier today or spiked up. And then now it looks like it's breaking through those highs to even higher highs. And it's up 0.5% in the past 60 seconds and 1% in the past 5 minutes. So there's a lot of flexibility that you have there with a scanner. And then once you get it the way you want it, you can just click on save here at the top. And you can save different types of scans so that they're always easy to access. Let's see here, Kyle. I love that. So many beats. Kyle, yeah, you can navigate earnings and financials better. That's what we're here for. We're a community helping each other to improve our trading. We can always improve. That's what's awesome about trading. There's always new things to learn. There's always ways to improve because trading is really about improving yourself as well as improving your strategy. And we're all here to support each other. So, of course, I love the community here on YouTube, but we also have the chat. We've got happy hour Zoom sessions where we meet about 4 or 5 days a week after the market closes. And then you also have people sharing ideas within the idea module. What I would add to this, let's talk about a day trading workspace. So you've got a scanner set up, right? And you're ready to catch those stocks as they're taking off. The second item that I would open up is our signals tool. So the signals tool is going to give you a chronological list of key momentum or institutional activity indicators. And right here, I've got price spikes within the past 60 seconds from when that is released. We've got halts and resumes here, opening gaps, highs and lows. So a lot of these items that will tell you that a stock is possibly breaking out or breaking down or is likely to have additional volatility. And then you can filter this down on the signals tool by a watch list or by a sector or by price per share to hone that in. So let's say I want to go with watch lists. I click on watch lists, then I select a watch list like gappers from today. And then you can see Indonesia Energy Corp was moving a lot, Teladoc Health, a lot of these price spikes, and then highs, opening gaps, and some halts. So that's my number 2 suggestion for an active trading workspace. And by the way, there are block trades of over 200,000 shares traded at one time and option activity as well that you can add in there. And then the last step for an active trading workspace, well, I guess second to last step, would be that advanced newsfeed. If you want everything, if you don't want to miss anything, I'd open up that advanced newsfeed, throw on that sources tab, and include press releases, and then click done, and you're good to go. And the last step would be to turn on the Benzinga Pro audio Squawk. So here in the upper left corner, if I hover over the Squawk, you can see Squawk equity there. And that's where Benzinga Charlie broadcasts. He's been doing it with Benzinga for over 10 years. And he is the best squawker for US equities in the market. So you just click on that blue play button and it says connected, waiting for audio. Then from about 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, if there's a breaking news item that's likely to move the market, you'll hear him speak through your computer speakers. Yeah, Kyle, if you want to look at company quarter over quarter or year over year earnings, a great way to research that is to use the details tool. So I can open up the details tool here, and let's take Apple, for example. You could look at the calendar tab. So I clicked on calendar, and then the default is to show you the earnings calendar. You have a lot of other sub tabs here available. And then you can see what the EPS and the revenue have been for each quarter. So this would be a little bit more manual because it's not showing you the difference from quarter or year to year. But you do have the actual data points. And then on the news feed, we're going to tell you when the earnings are released. Like if I go to categories here, and then I go to earnings, you can see that we summarize the results for you. So like right here, we tell you immediately if it beat the estimate, and then this is a 12% decrease over losses of 50 cents per share from the same period last year. So that's not necessarily in the calendar automatically, although I love that idea as another data point we could include in the calendar, but that would definitely be included in many of these headlines where it tells you if it beat or missed top and bottom line, and then what the difference is for year over year or quarter over quarter. Great question, Kyle. And then Prakveen, yeah, this session should be available on YouTube after this is over. I am broadcasting this on YouTube right now. So this should be up at least through midnight tonight. And we have a whole host of sessions available on our help site as well. So once you're a Benzinga Pro member, you have access to our whole library of videos, past webinars, tutorial videos, and that's available through this question mark in the upper right corner. And then you can see tutorial videos, past webinars, tips and features, strategy outlines. I'll probably have to get a new strategy outline in there after today's session, looking at Anne-Marie's strategy with those 3 indicators. But that's where you can find a lot of this stuff. Okay. And for anyone who just joined us recently, I mean, you probably are just wrapping up. I mean, definitely watch the rest of the presentation with Anne-Marie. But I do want to let you know that the special we're running today for the last day of February is about $400 off of the Benzinga Essential Plan. I'm throwing the link into the chat there. I know there's been more comments on YouTube, so I'll just post that again on YouTube. So that includes a free laptop. Looks like we have about 7 of those laptops left. So we started with 30. They're moving fast, so don't miss out on one of those laptops. And basically for $997 for the whole year, you get access to all the tools on Benzinga Pro, real-time data, real-time charts. And what we've really been focusing on today are some of these ideas that you get from professional traders as well as the Benzinga Pro community. So Anne-Marie was sharing how she formulates some of her ideas, whether that's just with, you could use trading stocks or trading the stock options, or some combinations with spreads or iron condors. And she'll be posting her ideas here within the ideas module, along with some of our other analysts and members. And then you also have access to the Benzinga Pro community chat as well. So we've got all these technical tools, professional tools to help you identify those ideas, and then actual people helping each other to improve their trading on the platform. All right, let's see here. I'm just making sure. Yeah, we're still good. So the next thing here that I wanted to show all of you is the calendar tool. And I briefly showed you the calendar tab on the details tool, but this is for the entire market. So the calendar tool gives you access to 14 different historical calendars. So you could change the date range on any one of these and you look at earnings that are coming up, earnings from the past, and then there's 14 different calendars. So we already talked about earnings a little bit. I also really like analyst ratings. So, I mean, analyst ratings at times can be a lagging indicator rather than leading in certain ways, but it can help to have a specific price point and look at what the consensus is between different analyst firms on a particular company. So one of the strategies is really more of an starter idea is to look at the past few weeks. So I could say what the 14th. See if I go to the 14th and I go to the 28th, so I can see all the ratings from the past couple weeks. And then I could say I have these filters available on the right side of my screen. Columns and filters. No matter what calendar you're looking at, you should see columns and filters. So I click on filters, and then I click on rating. And I'm just going to get rid of all of the ratings that are not positive. So I'll get rid of equal weight, hold, market perform, neutral. All right. So these are all looking positive now under the rating column. So these are all good ratings. And then we can also get rid of most of this now. So I'll go to columns, and really all that I really need are date, symbol, analyst firm, and price target. This is very, very basic. And this is why I started enjoying analyst ratings in the first place, is because when I started trading, it's like, it would really help if I had a bunch of professional analyst opinions on, with price targets on these stocks. For some reason, it looks like it's not showing a range here. I thought this was going to be, let's see here. Now it looks like it's a range. Okay, now we're talking. Making sure I kept those filters, and I'll say price target less than, we'll say less than 75 bucks. So these are not very expensive companies. And so now all I got to go down here to do is see where are there 3 or more analyst ratings on the same company. So we have Bloomin' Brands here, and the current price is around $24.35. And the target price on these is between 30 and 33 bucks. So average of 31. So just before I even know anything about this company, I can say, all right, so in the next 12 months, would that be interesting to me to potentially make $7 on my $24? Let's say that that's enough to get me interested. Well, now I can say, well, first of all, what happened on the 22nd? Why were there 3 different analysts that gave new ratings? And it looks like, let's see, if I go down to the 22nd, there were earnings, I think, on the 18th. And then we had some analyst ratings come out on the 22nd. So I'd have to go back and take a deeper look, really. But we did have earnings pretty close by there. And then I would look at the chart and say, what's going on overall with this chart And you can see that on the 22nd, those ratings came out, and it's moved up from under $21 to up near 24 cents then. So that's interesting. Anyways, my point is that this is not just because you see that this happened in the past couple of weeks, that doesn't mean automatically buy it. But it's a really nice idea generator just to see what the analysts are saying. And then you can look at the news, you can look at the financials, you can look at the charts and build more of a thesis from there. See here. Yeah, thank you, A. Evans. We should be sending out a presentation to everyone who registered for our Zoom meeting. So yeah, analyst ratings, great stuff there. And then we also have unusual options activity data. So that there are separate strategies available for unusual options, for analyst ratings. If you subscribe to the options mentorship plan, you can trade live with Nick Shaheen 8 hours a day and get his analysis on over 100 companies every week. Plus, you have this cool options activity calendar where you could say, oh, you know, what's the biggest option trade for today? Well, we have this $19 million trade on Google. Well, that's interesting. And then you have other filters that you can apply to there. Okay, I just want to do a check here and see who else has joined the program. Looks like we're running low on those laptops. See, I'm going to my billing system. It's making me scroll down. Looks like there's been a lot of transactions today. Welcome, Guillermo. Glad to have you as a part of the Benzinga Pro community. Welcome, Anthony. Awesome to have you on board. And Mike. Thank you, Mike. Awesome. Well, we're really glad to have you here. So that means that we're down to just about 4 laptops left. And I'm checking YouTube here as well. Let me know if you have any questions. But we are going to wrap it up here pretty soon, just because I have to hop on another meeting. But hopefully you have gotten something out of this session today, that you've seen that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to find repeatable patterns in the market. It can help to have someone who's experienced kind of guiding you, like Anne Marie or like some of our other traders here at Benzinga Pro. And Benzinga Pro has a ton of places where you can find those ideas, do that technical analysis, and learn to trade like a professional on a daily basis. So yeah, I'm just making sure all the links are there in the chat. I'll throw that on Zoom as well. And then we'll call it an afternoon. Let's see. It's going in there. So that should be good to go. And then on YouTube, thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here on Zoom and on YouTube. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help via email or phone. And I look forward to talking soon. Take care, everyone.